Hey, please tell me if I am here because Michelle is gone again and it's just me for a second. But I have a lot of news to bring and I hope it's awesome. And I hope you're happy to be here. I'm hoping that you're happy it's Sunday. This is our... Sorry, I get things settled here. Don't have a crew. My one-man crew has abandoned me, but I have a dog here. I have Bailey. She's a cute little girl, huh? All right. So, yes, we have people. Every time I do this by myself, I get so nervous. I think to myself, it's not going to work, but you're here. Yay. Okay. All right. Let's go. Let's move. Let's get this show on the road. Thank you, guys. See, this is a show where Michelle's not here. It's just you and me, guys. It's like you help me to put on the show because I look at your comments a lot more. Do you need those glasses for reading? No, I don't. I need them for distance. I usually wear contacts. So I actually could take them off for the show. Sometimes I do. But I thought in case I needed to see anything in the distance, I got a little puppy with me that I would wear them. Right, babe? You gonna be good while I do my show? Huh? Huh? Alright. So, we woke up today. Is the world on the brink of war with Iran? You know, they keep pushing it. And Iran doesn't seem to want to back down. It kind of is pushing for war. It's kind of weird that Iran would push as well. But it is happening. So the Iranian troops, their Islamist guard, seized a UK oil tanker. And Iran actually released the footage, and there's audio of this dramatic event that obviously hasn't sparked a war yet, but it's almost as if the war people... I don't know. This is a question I know. I try to come up with a lot of theories for this, but it seems like the people in the Islamic government of Iran want to go to war. And it seems like there are people, obviously, in the United States government that obviously want war with Iran. And this is one time where I will criticize Israel. They want war with Iran. They want the U.S. to go to war with Iran. They want our guys to die. Right now, nobody needs to die. And then here's the thing. Here's the crazy thing. Like, nobody needs to die today. We need to think about these things before we put people's lives on the line, right? Nobody needs to die today. Earlier, Iran released footage of the detained British-flagged oil tanker Stena Impero, but hours after the first images were revealed, more video was aired on Iranian state TV. They are obviously provoking this confrontation because supposedly the oil tanker was in international water, so it's very interesting. This time showing the dramatic IRGC military raid on the vessel. Iranian Special Forces troops fast roped down to the deck via helicopter while the IRGC boat circled near the vessel. So, Iran wanted to show some force with their boats and helicopters dropping down onto the oil tanker. There we go. We're going to take this tanker. So what is your best guess on what's going on around here? It's a pretty sticky situation. The footage shows Iranian speedboats cruising near Stena Impero tanker as a military helicopter is flying over the vessel. An Iranian Marine could be heard communicating with the command center in the southern port city of Bandar Abbas. Masked Iranian commandos then rappelled into the deck of the tanker for the helicopter. The name of the ship can be seen in the video. Iran has released the first images of the detained British-flagged oil tanker Stena Impero after its Islamic Revolutionary Guard troops announced its seizure Friday in retaliation for the UK's prior capture of the Grace 1 off Gibraltar earlier this month. So obviously they want to make a big deal out of this, want people to know there's a show of power. So there's their images. We got your boat. What you gonna do about it? Trump says they're in big trouble. We'll see. The Swedish-owned and British-flagged tanker is also no longer under the control of the crew and hasn't been able to be contacted since being forced into Iranian waters Friday, according to the statement from its owner, Stena. Soon after the vessel was approached by unidentified small naval craft and a helicopter during her transit of the Strait of Hormuz in international waters, the vessel suddenly deviated from her passage to Jubal and headed north towards Iran. Iran's Revolutionary Guard quoted an Iranian maritime official saying there are 18 Indian and 5 crew members from Russia, Philippines, Latvia, and other countries aboard the Stena Impero. The captain is Indian, but the tanker is UK flagged. As of Saturday morning, Indian government officials have confirmed India is in contact with Tehran to secure the release of the majority of the Indian crew. Meanwhile, the second foreign vessel, which was captured Friday, the Liberian-flagged UK-owned tanker Mesdar, was reportedly released after being briefly boarded by Iran's military. UK Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt has warned Iran of serious consequences if its military does not return control of the British flag tanker. My question is, if they don't return it, like, there's no consequences for just taking the tanker, so that's kind of a sticky situation there. I'm not exactly sure. Let me see where we go from here, because Iran warns UK after dangerous and unwise moves after tanker seizure. Iran has been told it should prepare to be hit by a range of UK sanctions after the aftermath of its seizure of a British-flagged oil tanker in the Gulf, according to media reports. Iran responded by warning the UK to refrain from any dangerous and unwise moves against the Islamic Republic. British Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt is expected to announce today, Sunday, I don't know if you guys have any updates, diplomatic and economic measures, including potential asset freezes as a response to the incident. Britain could push for United Nations and EU sanctions to be reimposed on Iran after they had been lifted in 2016, following the JCPOA deal negotiated by former U.S. President Barack Obama on the Iran's nuclear program. Britain has denounced Iran's Friday seizure of the oil tanker as a hostile act, rejecting Tehran's explanation that it had seized the vessel because it had been involved in an accident. Liar. In a letter to the UN Security Council late on Saturday, Britain said the tanker was approached by Iranian forces when it was in Omani territorial waters, exercising its lawful right of passage, and the action constitutes legal interference. Current tensions are extremely concerning, and our priority is to de-escalate. We do not want to seek confrontation with Iran. It seems like Iran wants confrontation. There is audio here I can play for you. The VHF audio of the this tanker and the Islamic State. Now listen to this. No, you can't, because I don't have this on. Let's turn this on. He says, if you obey, you will be safe. Alter your course under international. And then the person says, under international law, I can do this. You can't impede me. You can't obstruct my goings. My goings are my coming. All right, here we go.
If you obey, you will be safe. Alter your course to 360 degrees immediately. Over.
MV Stena Impero, this is British warship Foxtrot 236. Sir, I reiterate that as you are conducting transit passage in a recognised international strait, under international law, your passage must not be impaired, impeded, obstructed or hampered. Please confirm that you are conducting transit passage through a recognised international strait.
I like what Mark the Evangelist says. It's a bit rich for the UK to try to show strength when it hasn't gotten the strength to rule her own parliament, waters, or immigration because she is a colony of the European Empire. Well said. Well said. All right. Okay. So, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when Iran comes for you? That's up for the British government to decide. But we shall see. Right now, nobody's died yet, so that's good. That's always good. Here's Trump. Trump says, Iran is in big trouble, mister. You're in big trouble. I'm not even kidding you. This is what he said. U.S. President Donald J. Trump backed the United Kingdom after Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps seized a British flag tanker on the Strait of Hormuz, saying the Islamic Republic is in big trouble. Iran is showing their true colors. President Trump told reporters outside of the White House, Iran is in big trouble. The president's relationship with British government ministers and prominent opposition politicians such as hard-left Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn and London Mayor Sadiq Khan, we're going to cover that, oh my word, has often been strained as they have rushed to what is that even word? What is that word? Commentate negatively. That's what it is. I'm like, people don't use that very much. Okay. Commentate negatively on his administration in hopes of winning the approval of the left liberal activists and media. Yeah, you got them blah 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 over here. Sadiq Khan just like trying to win points. Everybody's out there trying to win points. Well, it's like the high school, like our politicians have literally become high schoolers. Angela Merkel weighed in on the squad. We can't go any lower from here, folks. This is the most childish world. You know what? We can go lower. We have always had childish leaders. I am thinking of, what was it, Henry VIII and his 500 wives. I think that's pretty childish. Whatever. Little Napoleon. He was a leader, even if he was little. Nevertheless, the American leader's attitude to his late mother's home country as a whole has been consistently warm. Okay, whatever. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see this is a wait and see game. I literally have nothing else to say. Like, okay, blah, blah, blah over here. Talk. You going to war with Iran? Let's hope not. John Bolton liked to go to war with Iran. Why is he with Donald Trump? I don't know. Nobody can tell me. Nobody can answer me that. All right, so we're gonna jump talkers. We're gonna jump around because I'm gonna get to Katie Hopkins later, but it's just kind of cool what Donald. I feel like is great. It was a controversial tweets of Donald Trump. They're still up. Majid Nawiz thinks that that Katie Hopkins is a racist, and when after the Manchester bombing, when she said we need a final solution, he took it as the final solution, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, final solution to terrorism. After every gun battle, we hear people saying we need a final solution to gun violence. That doesn't mean I know that they don't mean they're going to round up all gun owners, and they might take away our guns. So, now, there's two, transgenderism. We have to. It's unfortunate that we have to kind of tread waters to keep our YouTube channel up. I don't mind if you're transgender. I don't have a problem with transgender people. I don't have a problem with gay people. I'm not homophobic. I'm not transphobic, and there's nothing like that. But there are actions that don't make me transphobic. There are two stories coming out this week where transgender people or people who've been pushing for transgender ideologies or issues are doing so in a way that is disingenuous and is not inclusive and is not helpful to people. In one case, we have a guy, girl, transgender person in Montreal, I believe, who is suing so that he can have a Brazilian wax done by females, and females don't want to do that because while maybe he thinks he is a female in his mind, he still has male genitalia, and no woman should ever be forced against their will to do male genitalia. I don't care if you think you're a female up here. You haven't changed down there, right? So that's making rounds. Even Ricky Jarvis has tweeted out about this. In favor, thank God, of women. Feminism have always been about not allowing men to abuse people, but you have with the transgenderism, you have people lining up to say that it's okay for people who call themselves females but are physically males to hurt women, and that's wrong. Okay? And I feel like most sane people would agree with that. A politician who pushed for the introduction of gender-neutral toilets shortly after his election has been charged with 9 counts of sexual touching of a child. David Smith successfully petitioned the mayor of Middlesbrough to trial gender-neutral toilets in Middlesbrough Council shortly after his election to the local authority of Teesside, Yorkshire. Yorkshire. Yes, Horatio. Yorkshire. As a politician representing the Conservative Party. So it's not a Labour dude. Councillor Smith resigned from the notionally right-leaning party described as not really conservative by Brexit leader Nigel Farage in a recent interview, obviously. He added that he completely rejects the spurious allegations, however, claiming that he was only removing himself from the party to ensure I can focus all my efforts on clearing my name. Nevertheless, reports suggest he intends to remain on the council, allowing him to continue to receive his $6,378 basic allowance for the time being. Smith said he has worked hard to ensure I serve the people of Colborne-Newman. The 30-year-old claimed tackling the issue of potholes, ordering bollards to be installed, and being a very proud advocate of the LGBTQ community. So he says but he has been charged with obviously hurting kids. So that's no good, right? Okay, move on to some of these other. Spain. We're gonna jump around a little bit here. In Spain, 200 illegal migrants stormed the border fence. 50 break through. 6 guards are injured. This is not. I'm not reading an old article. It seems like it's the same article every week. I know, right? Not the same. And let me just say, why do I bring this up? Because if you have people storming your fence, those people shouldn't be in your country. You don't want them there. They're willing to break a lot of rules. And when they get there, they're not going to be like, oh, model citizen, storm the fence, hurt the guards, but give me social welfare? Hey, Spain, I don't know what you're doing, man. Authorities in the Spanish city of Maia say that around 200 migrants have tried to climb a barrier separating the European country's northern African enclave in Morocco. The local office of Spanish government's representative said Friday that 1 migrant suffered a fractured leg while 6 Spanish police were injured. When around 50 migrants actually managed to get in. So then, hey, they will start procedures. It says, let's see. The migrants who reached Spanish soil were taken to a holding center where they can ask for asylum while authorities start procedures to return them to their countries of origin. So they're going to ask for asylum. Breaking in, hurting border guards. I don't even know what to do. I don't know what to do with that. Where do you go from there? You gotta, okay. So, did you guys see Lauren Southern's documentary, Borderless? In it, she did mention, there's a part on there, let me read it if you guys are talking. Let's see, can't change the fact that the DNA doesn't change or that the cell of a person has been soaking in testosterone since long before they were born. You guys are hilarious in the chat here. Okay, so in her video, she showed doctors giving fake notes to help people to get asylum, because if you're sick or if you need medical treatment, expensive medical treatment, then you get priority. So in Turkey, finally somebody's doing something. A doctor and 2 medical staff members and a translator. So obviously this was like a big people trafficking operation, have been arrested in a state-run camp for migrants and refugees in Greece, accused of issuing medical notes for non-existent conditions to exempt migrants from deportation. The alleged criminal operation occurred on Samos, one of 5 Greek islands where movement of asylum seekers is restricted. The suspects, who face charges of fraud, bribery, breach of duty, and membership of a criminal organization, allegedly charged about $350 to $560 for medical notes that would allow the migrants to travel to the Greek mainland for a hospital exam or remain on Samos for medical tests. 5 other doctors were arrested as alleged accomplices with 1 migrant man. So these are not good doctors, because they're charging these people. It's not like they have this like bleeding heart. They're taking their money. And these people got money. What do you guys think about that? When I was growing up, trannies were commercial vehicles made by Ford. That is funny. How much you want to bet that the EU will try to get the UK not to break away from the promise of protection from Iran? Interesting. Yeah, Michelle will be back shortly. Johnson pledges to get UK's mojo back. What do you guys feel? You feel like Bojo can get the mojo back? That was, I just made that up. I just put those together. I think I was the first one to do that. Can Bojo, they call him that in the UK. Boris Johnson, they call him Bojo. That's no joke. Bojo, no joke. I'm just kidding. So can Bojo get the mojo back? Because the mojo is just gone, baby. They ain't got no beat. They ain't got no rhythm. They can't. They're trying to clap. They're trying to tap their head and the circle thing. They ain't got nothing going on. So John, who's got the mojo? You know, Nigel Farage has got mojo juice for like 1,000 generations. That man does. That Brexit party has got the mojo going on. I mean, the colors, the lights. He's trying to, I don't know what he's going to roll on, because everybody's just mad and everybody just wants to start over. And pretty much everybody just wants, you know what, scrap it, Brexit party, baby. We're just be done. I know we have to go through the motions, because I know that legally we got to do this. So this is the path that you have to take, because that's the law, right? You got to go through Bojo first. You just got to do it. Prime Minister, prospective next Prime Minister Boris Johnson, otherwise known as Bojo, seeking the mojo, will create a Ministry of No Deal. I love it. It's you know, your ministries of this. It is very Harry Pottery. We'll create a Ministry of No Deal to prepare Britain for a clean break from the European Union. The overhaul of the department for existing European Union would be devoted entirely to planning for a no-deal exit on October 31st, the date by which Mr. Johnson pledged to take the United Kingdom out of the EU with or without a deal. He has pledged with or without the deal. Now, the House of Lords, I will let you know, has passed a resolution that would make that virtually impossible. The unelected Lords, you know, we don't have those here. But in a way, we kind of do, because families just keep passing down and keep running for office. But still, unelected lords, we are your lords. Because we're rich and we have titles and blah, 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 blah. I say the department will also be in charge of communications campaign to increase public awareness of the Brexit situation, with Johnson focusing on rallying support for business for a clean exit. Mr. Johnson told the Daily Express in an interview published Friday that the country needs to get its mojo back, saying, "The 3 years will seem like a bad dream. We'll get on with it and think much more about what we are going to do to unleash the talent and potential of the whole country. That's what I want to do. And he added that Britain will leave the EU on time, come what may, and would not accept a further Brexit extension, saying, "Why would we have another extension? I don't think there is an appetite in the UK for another extension. Nobody wants it. I certainly won't have it. And don't forget how it works. At the moment the UK leaves legally on October 31st, that is the law. The only way that that can be prevented is if a UK Prime Minister were to ask for an extension. Well, I'm not going to ask for an extension. The pledge should come as a welcome news to the Brexiteers. The Tory party, chairman of the Pro-Leave European Research Group, Jacob Rees-Mogg, told The Sun that he backs a no deal if the Prime Minister cannot negotiate a new deal with the EU before the exit date. Rees-Mogg told the tabloid, Boris has guaranteed that Brexit will happen by 31st of October. Now, how many times did Theresa May do that? We don't know. And said Boris will hasten the... I really feel like Boris wants to. We'll see if it happens. We'll see if that happens. I do believe he does want to. At least 17 Tories were said to have defied the whip and voted against the government. Let's see. A number of Conservative rebels on Thursday helped ensure a 41 vote majority to back an amendment to the Northern Ireland bill, which would prevent the full suspension of Parliament. They thought, hey, can we just suspend Parliament and then nothing can happen and we can just get a no deal? And then you had conservatives that voted to ensure that that was not going to happen. So at least 17 Tories were said to have defied the whip and voted against the government, while a number also reportedly abstained. It was reported that the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Philip Hammond, had orchestrated the rebellion and was one of the 36 that abstained or voted against the government. One cabinet minister told the Telegraph there's incredulity that he hasn't been sacked, and there is a lot of anger directed against all the people who have done this. Whoever succeeds Theresa May is going to have to put the party back together and restore discipline very quickly. The idea of having a party, I understand, is that, you kind of vote together, right? Not here. Not here. We'll see. All right. Australia. Hey, mate. Where's Michelle when I need her? Should we go to Australia when Michelle gets here? No, we're going now. That's the New Zealand Prime Minister right here. She's kind of this weird liberal guru girl who, not my cup of tea. Australia. I'm not going to get it. She's not here to tell me how bad it is. Australia rejects New Zealand's plea to stop returning convicted criminals. Is that bad? Australia has no intention of stopping the deportation of convicted Kiwi criminals to their homeland, despite a personal plea from New Zealand Prime Minister, I don't even know how to say her name, Jacinda Ardern, for the practice to end. So she, not only did they take away everybody's guns, turned them in, bam, just destroyed them. Now she wants Australia to stop deporting criminals. Like, you're not making any... That's why you have to destroy the guns. If you just deport people who aren't citizens back to their countries, maybe people can have guns again. Hey, you think about that? So, in 2014, Australia introduced a mandatory deportation for any and all foreign nationals who receive jail terms totaling a year or more, 12 months or more. So, that makes sense to me. Hey, you're a foreign national. You don't have citizen rights. If you've done something that puts you in jail for more than a year, we're not going to... First of all, I don't believe that other Australians should have to pay for all the world's criminals, especially if they come, hey, I'm going to come to your country, commit a crime, but hey, can I have 3 hot meals a day and a bed? No. How do you say no in Australia? No, mate. No. About 1,500 Kiwis have been caught in the dragnet. Almost half of the total of 4,000, and Wellington has raised concerns. Some of those deported allegedly grew up in Australia and have no ties to New Zealand. Australia's Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton denied New Zealanders were being singled out, explaining the policy is universal and will not change. If you come as a New Zealand citizen or as a Brit, wherever you come from, your country of origin is where you go back to if you have committed a crime. So they got New Zealanders caught up in it. Dutton said his government was determined to stand up for all Australians. Where we've got Australian citizens who are falling victim to certain circumstances where people are sexually offending children, for example, we had a big push to try to deport those pedophiles. Yeah, let their own country of origin deal with them. we got enough here to deal with, right? Dutton's remark came after Ardern aired concerns about the policy ahead of a meeting Friday with Australian counterpart Scott Morrison. I like that. I love this guy. It's having a corrosive effect on our relationship, so I'll continue to raise it, Ardern said. New Zealand and Australia offer each other automatic residency rights, and almost 700,000 Kiwis have made the trip across the Tasman Sea to take advantage of their larger neighbors' economy. So they're saying, hey, we're deporting New Zealanders back. And they're like, well, we don't want the criminals. Haha. Well, that's not how this works. Side note, this is just, I know this is important to you guys, so I want to talk about it. It's just stupid. You guys have this tax on your public television and all that BBC networks, you know, you pay your tax, and the government creates television, propagandized, said they're fair. They're not really fair. You got to pay for it if you have a TV, right? So, but the elderly used to be exempt from having to pay. Well, I guess the cash-strapped government. And what doesn't make sense is, you guys, these people are already on government funds. They're on government retirement. It's a socialist country. So the government's just asking for a little bit of their government paycheck back. It doesn't make any sense. So people over 85 or 75 have to pay this tax. Well, what really got me, I wanted to expose the government waste, because the BBC is sending out officers to, I don't know how, there can't be too many people in the country over 75. And probably several of them are in nursing homes where the tax is not even really an issue. I would think the nursing home would pay it or whatever. So if you're over 75 living on your own, hey, you should be praised and like helped. I agree with that. But they're spending money to pay police officers. I don't know what kind of officers, to everybody over 75 to tell them that they will now have to pay to watch television. From June 2020, only elderly people with a pension credit, a welfare benefit for poorer seniors, will be exempt from paying the BBC license fee. The BBC claims that it can no longer offer a free service to over 75s, because how many are there? Okay, right. I guess in the United Kingdom, if you watch programs live or download or watch BBC material on iPlayer, whether on television, computer, or other devices, and have not paid the $154 license fee, you are breaking a law and could be fined $1,000 for watching TV. It's just a weird way that they do it. It's so weird. People hate this little $150 fee. There's got to be some other, I don't know, just tax people a different way so they can't see it. When you tax people directly, then they get mad about it. I actually like direct taxes, because then you can, like the stamp tax, right? Boston Tea Party. I like direct taxation so we can see just where you're taking our money from. So they're going to pursue the elderly tax evaders. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Remember the director, I guess, let's see. The director is paid $170,000 a year. Oh my gosh. What a waste of money. What a waste of money. Crazy. All right. So, writing an essay appended in his book in 2007, The Dream of Rome, exhumed by the left Liberal Guardian newspaper, Boris Johnson, somebody just brought this up. This is not new news, but it's new news because somebody brought it up. So we're going to talk about this for a second. Boris Johnson in his book, The Dream of Rome, from 2007, because that's what they do when you run for office, high political office. They read everything that you've ever said and watch everything that you've ever done because they want to smear you. If you don't have skeletons in the closet, they'll put them in there and say you put them there. Johnson suggested that a fatal religious conservatism had held the Islamic world back, and that the more it has fallen behind, the more bitterness and confusion there has been, to the point where virtually every global flashpoint you can think of, from Bosnia to Palestine to Iraq to Kashmir, involves some sense of Muslim grievance. Truth hurts, baby. There must be something about Islam that indeed helps to explain why there was no rise of the bourgeoisie, no liberal capitalism, and therefore no spread of democracy in the Muslim world. Now, here's the thing. he has a really skewed view of history. It's called Christianity open people's eyes to treat people fairly, to be good business people. God gives you the ability to build things, to make things, to create things. But he said there must be something about Rome. He says, it is extraordinary to think under the Roman Byzantine Empire, the city of Constantinople kept the candle of learning alight for 1,000 years. Now, remember, it was under Christianity from AD 300, right? And that under Ottoman rule, the first printing press was not seen in Istanbul, as the Christian city was renamed after its conquest by the Turkish invaders in 1453 until the middle of the 19th century. Something caused them to be literally centuries behind. Now, I'm not actually going to say that Islam caused people to be centuries behind, because I think that that's crazy. I feel that there's a lot of different places. I think that he's got it backwards, where you have people all over the world. Even the Native Americans didn't have Islam that was keeping them back. It wasn't Islam keeping them back. It was the lack of Christianity. It wasn't the pro. It was the lack of something. If your body is sick because you lack vitamin D, it's not because you have too much iron. It's because you're lacking vitamin D. That is a really good example. They lacked Christianity. They lacked the enlightenment of God and Christianity's and Christian principles. Boris, you should be smarter. So, do you guys remember the attack, the Westminster attack? The man was driving a Ford Festiva at cyclists and a pedestrian and police officers outside the House of the Parliament last year. This guy is the man who did it. His name was Salih Khater. He was a 30-year-old refugee from Sudan, and he was this week found guilty. It took him a year to get through trial of attempted murder. The jury at the Old Bailey found Khater guilty on Wednesday after with his sentencing set for October 7th. During the trial, the court had seen footage, and that's just rough, of how he, on August 14th, how he drove through the people there during morning rush hour. He then drove through a security lane outside of the House of Westminster, missing 2 police officers who jumped out of the way. No one was killed, with injuries ranging from grazes to a fractured collarbone. As a result, like, pretty much just luck. So he's finally being sentenced. It was claimed that he was showing signs of paranoia about the British government before the attack. So he remained silent during the investigation. So he has been sentenced. He's been found guilty. And I can't see how long he was sentenced for, actually. I'd be curious to know. I'm not seeing how long he was sentenced, because sometimes these sentences are not very long, I think. Yeah. All right. So, speaking of people being punished for what they've done, I guess sometimes we bring you the stories, and you want to know, well, what happened to those people? Did they get punished? Well, there were, how many were there? Was there 2, or was it a group of them? 3. There was 3 radical Islamists who beheaded 2 female backpackers when they were hiking in the Atlas Mountains of Morocco. Now, they have been sentenced to death by a firing squad. And it's like, wow, firing squad. That's kind of interesting. Maureen Uland, 28, from Norway, and Louise Jespersen, 24, from Denmark. So there's a 4th that was sentenced to life in prison, while another 19 accomplices were given prison terms ranging from 5 to 30 years. Maureen and Louisa, who were flatmates in Norway's Bo University, had been backpacking unguided in the area to the south of Marrakesh when they were murdered while camping at the base of the range's tallest mountain, Mount Tubakal, in December 2018. An anti-terrorism court in Saul near Rabat had heard that the men had pledged allegiance to the Islamic State before the murders, while French media reported that one of them had served a prison sentence in Morocco for trying to join the Islamic State in 2015 and had been released. So they had tried to join Islamic State. they were released. And so I think this begs the question, why are we releasing people who try to join Islamic State? I mean, you have to, if you have these ideologies in your mind and you don't show some sort of dramatic change, why can you, I don't see how you can be released. During the trial, an underground of Jude, an underground imam believed to be the ringleader of the terror, had said, "We loved Islamic State and we prayed to God for it." The Islamist also said he had planned a number of terror attacks, including on churches and synagogues, but chose instead to kill the 2 Scandinavian women. The court heard that the men took 4 days to identify the women as their targets, choosing them because they were accompanied by choosing them because other tourists were accompanied by guides. The 3 terrorists filmed the decapitations and posted them online. Obviously, when we talk about mental illness for these things, these people are mentally ill, because you have to know, I'm going straight to jail. They're going to catch me. Yeah. So they beat him up. Yeah. This is not the first time Western tourists have been targeted, or destinations popular with Western visitors have, been targeted by Islamic terrorists. In July 2018, Islamic State claimed responsibility for the murder of 4 touring cyclists in Tajikistan, who were killed when an extremist mowed them down with a car. The terrorists then jumped out of the vehicle and stabbed and shot the survivors. The victims had hailed from the United States, Switzerland, and the Netherlands, and that kind of hits home for me, because I've toured, and I often think, I just hope nobody hits me. Yeah. It's not a safe place to travel out there. You just, in today's world. The U.S. ambassador to Germany, Richard Grenell, on Friday called out German Chancellor Angela Merkel for criticizing President Trump's comments about the squad. Why she's weighing in, I don't know, but you can see that there is a bigger thing at play here. This is why we do the EU show. This is why we do the UK show, because for better or for worse, we're operating on a global system. And I think with Donald Trump and like the whole Make America Great thing, and people around the world who appreciate Donald Trump, I think that it's better to have, I know it's better to have local governments, right? So we have the United States of America. It's large, but we're our country is actually not supposed to be this giant federal government. Ohio is about the same size as the UK. Okay, and that's where we live, in Ohio. Originally, each state was supposed to be like a little country and have way more autonomy. And over time, the people at the top, the corrupt people, decided, well, listen, if I want to make big changes, if I want to make money, if I want to get railroads across the country, if I don't want to be a big oil baron, I need more money, more people, more land, this greed. And so we have a ballooning federal government and a shrinking small government. So what I would say to the people in the European Union, why we love the Brexiteers and we praise the Brexiteers, is when your government is smaller, then you have more control over your life. When your government is bigger, then you don't have control over your life. And so we all are supposed to be able to wake up every day and follow God according to our own conscience. Oh, look who's back! We got a visitor! So, I'm talking about Michelle. Michelle's here.
I was listening.
The fact that Angela Merkel is siding with the squad. And so we have this, not only do you have people, this European Union, but you have this is a global, people with monstrous goals here to literally rule the world. Okay? Say hello. She smells like outside. Well, you smell fresh. Hi, Fresh. You want to come be in the show?
Hi,
she wants
Bailey.
to be in the show.
You can't be in the show.
Bring her
I
up.
was in the. I can't bring
Come
her.
on,
She's too
Bailey.
heavy. She weighs too much.
They don't want to. She's going to do it. They want to see her.
Hang on. I can't lift her from a dead.
She is kind of heavy.
Oh my gosh! I think she weighs like 80 pounds.
Okay.
Bailey.
Say hi, Bailey.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Where are you hiding all that? Whew.
Aww,
Hi,
he's so
baby.
cute. Okay, so our ambassador to Germany is criticizing Angela Merkel for criticizing President Trump for criticizing the squad. It's like a tongue twister. You missed it.
Whoa.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Look, she just wanted to be there with you.
Okay, you can sit right there.
Okay. So speaking at a press conference earlier Friday, Merkel claimed President Trump's comments about the squad undermined America's strength. The globalist world leader then affirmed she stands in solidarity with the four people. Why? What are you doing? What is the secret? I know the secret. They're backed by George Soros.
Right?
This is a globalist thing, and they're literally there in America to help get the European Union type globalism goals. They're on the same team.
Right.
Right? She says, I distance myself from this decidedly and stand in solidarity with the women who were attacked. The U.S. strength lies exactly in the fact that people of very different nationalities contribute to the strength of the American people. Hours later, Grenell hit back at Merkel, writing on Twitter, why isn't the anti-Semitism from the squad being condemned? AOC's claimed that there are concentration camps on the U.S. border is absurd. You're Germany. Maybe that's why you like her, because of the old concentration camps. You want to bring back supremacy.
Oh my gosh. Is she really laying right there?
She ain't going to. She's just going to be there. In a recent poll, Germany likes Obama better than Trump. A lot better.
Duh. You had to poll for that.
President Trump mentioned Merkel during his Wednesday evening rally in Greenville, North Carolina, alluding to having to ask the German leader to boost her country's military spending. I said, of course, because I'm making them pay their bills. I'm saying, you got to pay. I say, Angela, you got to pay, Angela. Obama would go in, make a speech, leave. I go in, make a speech. I say, let me speak to Angela. Angela, you got bills to pay. You're way behind.
Oh my gosh.
Angela, you got them bills to pay.
I love Trump. Like, he is
Oh,
so
my
fantastic.
word. Angela, you got bills to pay. We got a lot of stuff coming out of this show. We got Bojo wanting the mojo, and it's no joke. We got Angela, pay your bills.
That should be like
Angela, pay your bills. I got to see if I can find a clip of that.
No, you just invented it.
Trump, Merkel.
No, it's better when you say it.
Angela, pay your bills.
Oh my goodness.
Merkel.
So, I'm guessing you didn't share this, but if you didn't, that's okay, because I'm going to share it even this late in the game.
On Twitter?
Sorry. No, it doesn't have to be shared on Twitter because we're live on Twitter. But I'm going to share it on Facebook. For our Facebook people that can no longer watch us live on Facebook.
So I'm going to miss that. We're not going to try to find that. Angela, pay your bills. Girlfriend, that's why you don't like me. That's why he says it. Okay, that's so funny.
That was really good, Leah.
Donald Trump optimistic Boris Johnson can straighten out Brexit. He said, I think they've done a very poor job with Brexit. I think the previous prime minister has done a very bad job with Brexit. What can I say? I mean, it's a disaster. It shouldn't be that way. I think Boris will straighten it out. I like Boris.
said
I
that?
always have. He's a different kind of guy.
I'll be darned.
But they say I'm a different kind of guy, too. We get along well. I think we'll have a pretty good relationship. So, we'll see. All right, let's see. Feminist magazine admits migrants behind most pool sex assaults. Yeah.
What?
So there's a
Pool
thing.
Sexual assaults. Sexual assaults that are happening and at the pool area.
One German feminist magazine has published an article admitting that most of the assaults are carried out by migrants. The article, published by Cologne-based feminist magazine Emma, admitted that young migrant men were responsible for the majority of these attacks in outdoor pools across the country. Women are massively harassed by migrants. Swimming champions are abused. In addition, there is a high degree of violence and the lack of any respect. An outdoor swimming pool should be a place of recreation and not a place of horror. Since 2015, there are problems in our baths with young migrants. It was a slow process. In the meantime, the impression prevails that only young Arab-born men can dare to go to the outdoor pool. So the perpetrators are from North Africa, Arab, Turkish origin. The magazine goes on to assert that women and even young girls are often harassed by migrant men, fondled, and all kinds of crazy things.
Oh my goodness.
Filmed. And we've talked about this. It makes me uncomfortable to talk about. But remember, they even had to. It was so bad. It's gotten worse. What they're saying, it's gotten worse. But it was so bad that they've had to put up signs saying no, like
no touching.
No touching. Bikinis are okay. You can wear anything.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, they've had to put up sign. No, you can't touch. No, you can. You literally have to draw a cartoon of "Don't touch the girl's rear end." Then that's saying.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me right now? Oh my gosh.
So they say we need more backing from police, but you're not gonna get it.
Okay, so here is the deal.
So it was like the same attacks. What happens is like Cologne was the place where there's the attacks during New Year's Eve. And there was a lot of attacks, right?
Yeah.
And so they do it in the pools as well, and it's they surround people and then they.
But I think that it's more than just the opportunity of people in more scantily clad swimwear. It's their ideology is that if you are not completely covered in like hijab and burqas, you are asking for it. So the least covered you are morally before Allah, they have not only the right but the duty. Mm-hmm. To do it, and that's what makes it so nefarious, and I mean it would be bad either way, but I'm just saying like I think that's why it's an epidemic, because it's the least the less amount of clothes that a female wears, the more she has put herself out there to be assaulted, which is horrendous.
And we've heard this from testimony from many women who said, what do you're wearing hijab, what do you want to be raped?
The women say that, yeah. The women even say that.
Okay,
yes.
so we're going to Sweden, but this is actually a United
Sweden
States.
already today yet?
No, we haven't been there yet.
My hair is not conducive for this.
No, that actually looks really good on you. Like that looks really good. I need to wear mine back like that too.
Well, then I'm going to hit the television. Like I can't even back up. I can't back up. Okay. We're going to Sweden.
So, Trump spoke out because I have no idea who this guy is. ASAP with a money sign in his name. He was in a street fight in Sweden with two drug addicts who kept following them. Okay. But he has been arrested. So Kanye West calls up Donald Trump and says, can you get my friend ASAP Rocky out of prison in Sweden? So Donald Trump calls up the Swedish Prime Minister or whatever and is trying to work out something.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. But the Swedish Prime Minister says he would be glad to speak with the U.S. President Trump about the rapper ASAP Rocky's detention, but he cannot and he will not attempt to influence the prosecutors or the courts. Trump tweeted Friday that he would call the Prime Minister, Stefan Löfven, to see what we can do about helping ASAP Rocky. Rocky has been held in Sweden for weeks as police investigate his alleged involvement in a fight. First Lady Melania Trump and celebrities including Kanye West urged Trump to intervene. So there is a video of this happening.
My Valkyrie hat to be in the way here.
But what ASAP says was that these drug addicts kept following them and harassing the girls or something with them. So,
but what cracks me up is that like American musical celebrities, they really get around, right? This is not staying today.
Yeah, that's fine.
My hair. They get around, and so I'm like, there's a rapper I've never heard of touring in Sweden.
I know.
What is that? I mean, obviously, I haven't heard of a lot of secular rappers, but still, I mean, this is it's crazy.
It is kind of weird. Let's see. So Trump had said that ASAP Rocky will be treated fairly, and yet another set of tweets that thousands, maybe millions of Americans will probably make stake for a meme account. Oh yeah, he spoke about this. Just had a very good call to Swedish PM who assured me that the American citizen ASAP Rocky will be treated fairly. Likewise, I assured him that ASAP was not a flight risk and offered to personally vouch for his bail or an alternative. Our teams will be talking further, and we agreed to speak again in the next 24 hours.
Oh my gosh. You know, I know that Prime Minister said he's not going to intervene with the prosecution and the courts and so on and so forth. Well, that's just to save face. He totally will. I mean, when you have the President of the United States asking you to do something, you get it done. I mean, and that's when they say it pays to know somebody. It really pays to know somebody. I mean, seriously.
I wanted to point this out. I thought this was really interesting. So Avi Yamini, who is Tommy Robinson's spokesperson, has said that Julian Assange has been moved to the cell above Tommy Robinson, and they have had at least one long conversation.
That's so cool.
Just let that. That's one of those things.
Oh my gosh!
Get out a sponge in your brain and let that soak in.
Oh my god!
Like a Bounty paper towel. Let it soak.
Okay, but the fact that they have both of these men in the same prison,
conscience prison, with it's a high security.
I mean,
prisoner of conscience.
They're not trying to protect the prisoners.
I'm just glad that they're able to talk to each other.
That is the coolest thing. They are planning an escape.
No, they're not. But they're planning what will happen when they get out, I hope.
Oh, my gosh. That is the coolest thing ever. This is massive news, he says. More to follow. Free Tommy Robinson. Free Julian Assange.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
So, there was some fake news going on around Tommy.
I'm still stuck on that. That's so
Reports
crazy.
that he was assaulted in prison are fake, just let you know.
That's good.
A report from the Daily Star claiming that Tommy Robinson was assaulted in prison shortly after his arrival is fake news. The report claims that Robinson was punched by a 70-year-old inmate in the showers when he first arrived. Sources have said that Robinson strutted into prison acting like a celebrity and was soon being abused by black, white, and Asian inmates. The Star continued on to claim that the assault was not over his political views because he was acting important. It is understood that Robinson accused another inmate of disrespecting him when they bumped into each other in the shower block. The outlet claimed to have spoken to an inmate who said Robinson was dropped with one punch, but no prison report was made because only inmates saw it. The story has spread to multiple outlets, even as far as Australia, where journalists are reporting the story without even fact-checking. And Avi says it's fake news.
Wait, your thing's not on.
So, is it true? Was Tommy Robinson really punched to the ground in jail? So I've just woken up to my inbox.
Hang on, the volume will come in a second.
Every single platform of people who are worried about Tommy Robinson's safety. Why? Because the mainstream
It will come. There it is.
No, it's not there yet. Give it a second.
Across most
You can leave
of
it loud.
the mainstream
They
media
can't
networks,
really hear it very well.
claiming
So.
that Tommy Robinson was decked in the showers and
Oops.
in this article first posted on Daily Star. They claim that the altercation in the showers inside Belmarsh top security prison hours after the former English Defence League leader was jailed for contempt of court. The alleged incident was not
So, obviously it's not real, so I just want you guys to know.
Okay.
That it is not real.
But that's good news. I mean, in all honesty, I know that Tommy thinks that he's going to be, killed or what have you, but we don't want Tommy attacked. We don't want him to be killed.
No.
Because then you become like the weatherman that wants the tornado to come through because it's exciting, and then you don't really care about Tommy. You just are some sort of crazed person.
Exactly. So Algeria won the African Cup soccer tournament, and then these riots broke out in France, took over Paris, I believe. And one person is quoted as saying, "We have managed to take over Paris even faster than the German army in 1940. It took us just 3 hours." Migrants terrorized pedestrians. I have a video, I think it's here. There's a video of them stomping on this, just terrorize these girls in this car, and they steal their cell phones and wallets. It's like,
oh my gosh.
Hello. When I say final solution to gang violence, I don't mean like, hey, get rid of everybody, but you got to get rid of the gang members and the violent, crazy people. I think that they shouldn't be allowed to stay. Right. Identify them, kick them out.
Right.
So this is what happens when there's a victory. You go and just rampage.
They weren't upset that they lost. They were just they were happy they won, and then decided to go and do damage and harass people.
These poor women were caught up in their.
Voilà, ça lui a volé son téléphone. Voilà, ça lui a volé son téléphone, c'est pas bien. Voilà, c'est pas bien, voilà. Miskina, ça lui a volé son téléphone.
This is Paris, France.
Oh là 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 là. Ah, voilà, c'est pas bien, voilà, c'est pas bien, Miskina. Ça lui a son téléphone, il y a un sac. Voilà, il y a de l'argent, voilà, il y a de l'argent.
You know the saying, what is the world coming to? We're there.
Apart from rioting and looting, some Algerians celebrated Algeria winning the African Cup of Nations last night by sucker punching local French people.
Oh my gosh. I don't want to watch somebody get sucker punched.
More and more videos of young Algerians rioting, attacking French people, or just hating on France are coming out after Algeria won the African Cup. France used to colonize us, but today we colonize them.
Unbelievable. They're like, so when Trump says they act like animals, like MS-13, when you act like an animal, you're going to get called an animal. I mean, that's just
one Algerian sends a message to Marine Le Pen saying, look, here we have Algerians, Tanzanians, Moroccans, Senegalese, Marine Le Pen. We have managed to take over Paris even faster than the German army in 1994. It took us just 4 hours. 1940. Look at this. Film this.
That is just repeating what you just said.
So that, seem like nice people. I'm glad you let them in your country.
Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, let's see.
That's awesome.
So we don't talk enough. And I think because it's so sad and there's really not much we can do about it, or whatever, I don't know. We don't talk enough about what's going on in South Africa. And I think there's just like a lot of negativity surrounded around the whole situation, but these are good people, I believe, in my heart of hearts.
Oh yeah.
They're not just being killed, they're not just being robbed. South African white farmers, and I just want to call them European farmers, they are being chopped up, left in their bathtubs. It's the
South Africa isn't part of Europe, though.
No, they're from Europe, the European descendants.
Okay, I know, but like they've been there forever. At this point, they're just South African.
Well, you and I could say that, but when
we're not the Swedish farmers.
Yeah, but Black people here call themselves African Americans. So they're European South Africans.
Okay, I guess I can, yeah, but that's a mouthful.
Okay, whatever. All right, a delegation of 30 South African families. Russia's going to take some of these people in. So that's the top of it. That's the title.
It's good news. It's really great. It's fantastic, actually.
A delegation of 30 South African farming families has arrived in Russia's Farm Belt, Stavros region. Up to 15,000 Boers, descendants of Dutch settlers in South Africa, are planning to move to Russia amid rising violence. It's life or death for them. Each family is ready to bring up $100,000. I think that, so we've been talking about this. We're speaking about this. I think
15,000 is a massive number. I mean, that's a lot of people. And it's actually, so it's amazing that Russia is doing this. It's going to be really fascinating to see how this plays out. But at the same time, it's so sad.
Right.
It's really, really sad that they're having to leave their home. I mean, this is the only place that these people have ever known, regardless of them being descendants from Europe at some point.
Right. All right. So this week, Donald Trump got on Twitter. And I don't know if you guys know much about Twitter, but you can kind of go through somebody's feed. And if you like what you see, you tend to tweet out one thing or two things or three things. So Donald Trump tweets out Teddy Hopkins 4 times. And, of course, the world goes crazy. Majid Nawi says, oh, my gosh, she called for a final solution after the Manchester bombing. She means to deport all Muslims. She doesn't mean that. Obviously, she doesn't mean that. But she didn't get you don't even get a chance to explain yourselves, even though Islamists get a chance to explain themselves.
Right.
Katie Hopkins does not. She lost her job because of that. And I think that people are, when it comes to non-immigrant people, if you say something out of something that needs to be clarified, then you don't get a chance to clarify it. But just, this is her defending Donald Trump, and he tweeted this out.
Lovely few days in America with Trump going up against the squad. The mainstream media, of course, have fueled this whole fire by misquoting or misrepresenting what Trump actually said. What he actually said was, why don't these people go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came, then come back and show us how it's done. At no point did he tell anyone to go home or go back to where you came from. He asked them whether they would like to go back, fix things, and then come back and teach America how it's done. Of course, nobody wanted to talk about that. They just wanted to use the go home racist trope and then get everybody who's anybody to comment on the fact that this definitely had to be racist. All the while missing the point that what Trump had done is actually a brilliant strategic move. He wants the Democrats to be all about the squad. He wants to, in his own words, marry Nancy Pelosi and her wayward dentures with these 4 women. He wants to put the socialists front and centre of the Democratic campaign so that when 2020 comes, you've got a simple choice to make. Are you going to choose the Patriots and the Stars and Stripes, or are you going to choose a woman who held aloft a Palestinian banner? Are you going to choose looking after America and the people within it? Or are you going to choose a woman who said some people did something about 9/11? Are you going to choose the Christian land of America? Or are you going to choose people that are backed by care? He's making it a very simple binary choice. Choose crazy socialists, choose ISIS, choose care, choose Palestinian flag wavers, or choose America. Choose to make America great again. Choose Donald Trump.
Yay, Katie! Oh, that was really fun.
Yeah.
So he tweeted her out 4 times. Is there any indication that he feels remorse after there's been backlash?
Yeah.
No, because he doesn't do that.
I hope not. No.
That's so awesome.
Yeah,
I don't
think so.
much.
But what he did is he tweeted her out about Sadiq Khan, about London, because Sadiq Khan is constantly talking about. Sadiq Khan is constantly tweeting about Trump.
Yeah.
So crimes solved by police in England and Wales at a new low. They're not solving any crimes. The proportion of crimes solved by police in England and Wales has fallen to the lowest level ever recorded. In the 12 months in March, 7.8% of offenses saw someone charged or summoned, down from 9.1% a year ago. The data began to be compiled in 2015. I'm pretty sure it was a lot higher in the past, but you've come a long way from Sherlock Holmes to only solving 7.8% of offenses.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And police admit that, I know I'm using
Is that of reported offenses? I mean, because, like, obviously you're not going to solve all offenses if they're not reported. So.
No, yeah, reported offenses.
That's crazy. So Kimberly had asked if we could turn the volume up. There is no way for me to turn it up any louder on our end. Just FYI.
Not with the settings or anything.
No, I've got it up as high as it goes.
So think about it. Sometimes when Mom talks, I really have a hard time hearing her.
We could talk closer to the microphone if that helps. We could do this the whole time.
Maybe a better microphone? Different microphone?
Unless you mean the volume of the videos, at which, I mean, we could turn those up. They're very loud for us, but we could turn them up sometimes.
I totally can. No one has ever been prosecuted for membership of the UK's most dangerous Islamist group, despite followers launching numerous terrorist attacks, it has been revealed.
What?
Supporters of Ajam Chowdhury's Al-Majura, whatever, the AML organization. The ALM organization that carried out atrocities, including the London Bridge attack, the 7/7 bombings, and the murder of Lee Rigby.
What?
While others fought for ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and the Taliban abroad. The government banned the ALM, whatever,
doesn't matter,
as a terrorist group in 2006, making membership a criminal offense punishable by up to 10 years in prison. But a senior counter-terror officer admitted that despite the police identifying 600 current members or former associates, none of them have been prosecuted for their membership.
Unbelievable.
The Metropolitan Police officer, who is codenamed Witness M because of anonymity, told inquests into the London Bridge attack that suspects had been arrested but not charged. The coroner at the London Bridge inquest today cleared MI5.
Why is that a 1 though? Why is it MI? It's got to be 1.
M15. I don't know.
M15.
I don't know.
That's
why
a 1.
MI.
Well, because
M15 and the police for missing opportunities to prevent the attacks, even though ringleader Curran Butt had been monitored by security services as a known member of ALM. The admission that no one has been prosecuted for membership of the group comes after more than a dozen people were prosecuted for membership of the neo-Nazi terrorist group, National Action, despite setting up new factions under different names to evade the ban. A survivor of the 2005 London bombings, which were carried out by terrorists linked to the ALM, said she was concerned with the lack of prosecutions, and I would be too.
So you get to come and do the London bombing and kill Lee Rigby, and of course kill Lee Rigby, and not get punished.
But here's the thing: I really want to point this out. This guy here has led a group to murder and cold-bloodedly kill, and
no, it is MI5. They're all telling me.
Okay.
Thank you. Why? Well, somebody put a 1 in their article. There was a 1 there. British. It's a military intelligence.
And massacre 5 British citizens. Andrew Chowdhury and his group. And yet, when you listen to the news reports about Tommy Robinson, they put Tommy Robinson at the same level as this guy.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Their hatred.
Yeah.
And his dangerous ideology.
Right. Yeah, but it's still actually...
They hate him more. They hate Tommy more than
exactly.
They hate this guy.
This guy. You kind of like, well, if you want to say something bad about him, okay, but like you don't have to say something bad about him. But like with Tommy, it's like you have to denounce him. You have to say he is Satan. And
this guy is living under security on a government pension because he can't work a job.
Wow.
So as a terrorist, you guys are treating him like a king.
Unbelievable.
And he's probably going to get out. He was probably out before Tommy will be. All right, so Nigel had another little epic speech in the Parliament as an MEP.
Does it get any louder?
I'm going to make it as loud as I can. So they were voting on Ursula von der Leyen. Now,
was this a really close vote?
There's so many different positions. Yeah, actually, it was a pretty close vote.
Not the close vote. It was like by like 8.
It was a pretty close vote. I've seen some contradictory numbers, but Nigel has it tweeted out, the exact number. So when you're voting for this woman to be, I guess, president or whatever of the European Parliament, you're given a choice. You're given a card, and it has her name on it, and it says yes or no. That's it. There's no democracy. There's no list of people you can choose from. You don't get to put forth people that you would like to vote on.
Who puts them forward?
The head people, the unelected bureaucrats. The head people put, like, we're going to put this person forward, and you can say yes or no. That's your vote. Yes or no.
Wow. Stuart the Brit says Chowdhury is an insider informant.
Yeah.
But she did win.
She did.
Well, I may be speaking from the back of the chamber today, but as I predicted last time I was here, in the European elections, the Brexit Party were very much to the front of the elections and massive, massive winners. And I come back to a place that has been humbled and humiliated. The European Council stitch-up has rendered this place impotent until today, when you've got some real power if you choose to use it. What you've seen from Ursula von der Leyen today is an attempt for the European Union to take control of every single aspect of our lives. She wants to build a centralised, undemocratic, updated form of communism that will render nation-state parliaments, where the state controls everything, where nation-state parliaments will cease to have any relevance at all. I have to say, from our perspective, in some ways, I'm really rather pleased, because you've just made Brexit a lot more popular in the United Kingdom. Thank God we're leaving. But it is in the aspect of defence that I think people's minds should be focused. She's a fanatic for building a European army, but she's not alone. When it's completed, NATO will cease to exist or have any relevance in Europe at all. And of course, not to be left out of this, French President Emmanuel Macron, on Bastille Day last Sunday, stood at the front of an open-top car with his nascent European Defence Force behind him, looking for all the world like an updated version of Napoleon. Be in no doubt,
Is that her?
5 years of these people, the European Defence Union will be complete. And what is there for defence can also be used for attack. And you as a House will have no control over it. Vote against this nominee, strike a blow for democracy, strike a blow for your citizens. Do it today.
Thank you, Mr. Farage.
I cannot talk about Europe without talking about...
I didn't want to hear about her.
Oh my gosh.
What is going on?
So, and here's another clip of Nigel this week talking about Jean-Claude Juncker. So.
What is going on here? Please tell us.
Well, I think what Mr. Juncker has done is made himself look a complete and total idiot. He's comparing the United States of America, which has a common culture and a common desire to be a nation, with the United States of Europe that he wants to build and wants to impose upon the peoples of Europe. So Brexit has happened. Trump was a supporter of that project. And now, frankly, this idiot, because I can't think of a better word, says that he'll campaign for Ohio to break away from the USA. I think the European Union and Jean-Claude Juncker just lost whatever credibility in the USA they had.
Okay, now I've got to bring up this, because when we learned that you were part of the movement to break up California into two parts, interior and the coastal elites, when we heard that, the first question to us was, what on earth is Nigel Farage, the Brexit guy, doing trying to break up California? You want to explain yourself, Nigel?
Yes, I do, please. Okay. Tim Draper, successful Californian businessman, takes the view that California is too big, too centralized, too badly run, and it would be better to be broken up into smaller units. He's believed that passionately for a long time, and, you know, think about it. I mean, there are 200 countries in the world with populations smaller than California. I happened to be in California as an award ceremony, as a speaker, and I was invited to go and talk to a group of people who were thinking about making a change that the LA establishment will say is impossible. And I guess the moral of the story is, what Brexit proves is if you want something enough, it can happen. And looking at the liberal coast and the more conservative interior, you know, I don't think it's completely impossible.
It's a stretch, Nigel. I think you'll have to admit it. It is a stretch.
Well, it may well be a stretch, but you know, I was just there to bear witness. You know, I have to remove any doubt. It is not me trying to break up California.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear, okay, because you become very unpopular all of a sudden if you were that guy. All right. Now, it's something more serious. You want the United Kingdom, the Brits, to enter into individual trade agreements with individual European countries. That's how you see the future of British trade with Europe, correct? Now, okay, I know that's your view.
Yeah.
What chance of this actually happening?
Well, in the short term, that isn't going to happen. The EU will, for their negotiations, I think, hold together. And they're saying today that they won't even talk about trade with us until we've paid some ludicrous bill of over 50 billion sterling. So effectively, they're trying to blackmail us. And this is all rather stupid, really, because we trade at a big imbalance with the European Union. They sell us far more than we sell them. And they're prepared, these European politicians are prepared to put their crumbling dream of this European project above the interests of their own workers and their own companies. So,
and that's really the crux of the issue. I mean, they dig these holes for themselves, and it's what's happening with the Democrat Party here in the United States with the socialists and so on. They are putting forward these candidates, right, that have no chance of winning, and they're holding on so stubbornly that they're going to lose it all anyway. And that's what's happening to the European Union. They're going to lose it all anyway. It's like, why not come to some sort of, you know, compromise, and why not let these individual countries within the European Union imagine this? And for our American viewers that maybe still have a hard time wrapping your brain around why the European Union is so evil, it's just supposed to be about free trade. when a conglomerate that you freely joined can then control whether you can trade or not with the UK, and you can come up with your own, you are no longer sovereign. Every nation in the European Union is no longer sovereign when they can tell you that you can't come up with a trade agreement with the UK. Imagine we were part of a conglomerate that said, United States, whether you want to trade with the UK or not, you don't get to make that choice.
Or how you're going to do it.
I mean, this is absolutely
So here
absurd.
Nigel explains the choice of having one, not being democratic.
She's not a communist, though. You called her a communist in the chamber
No,
today.
I didn't. I said that what they're doing is they're creating in Brussels a modern-day version of communism.
You called her a communist.
No, I didn't. I said they're creating a modern-day version of communism, by which I mean that the power, the government of Europe, is the unelected European Commission, and she said in the next 5 years she wants to have a European minimum wage, a European immigration policy, European social security, a foreign policy where no individual member state can have veto rights, continued expansion, and, if possible, the completion of the European army. If you have a state all power at the centre that controls every aspect of your life, and you can't sack the people making those decisions, that is akin to how the Soviets did it.
Okay, well, let's talk about how she came to be the European Commission president. So she was the figure put forward by the elected heads of government of the 28 European Union countries. She was then, you as an MEP and the 750 other MEPs then had the chance to ditch her, to throw her out and to send the leaders of the government.
In an election, having a choice of one is hardly an open democratic choice. It's a farce. This was all stitched up. Look, the French and Germans run the thing. They've run it from the start. Small countries now don't count. Central Eastern European countries don't count. Southern European countries don't count. So we've got a German running the Commission and a French woman who's going to run the European Central Bank. And things carry on in that sense as they were before. But the urgency with which they want to centralise power, take away the ability of nation states to set their own agendas, has now reached a level, or I have to say, I've got a slightly sort of strange, ironic feeling. I voted against her, but as a Brexiteer, I'm very pleased she's won.
It's a gift for you.
Oh, she's the pin-up girl now for the Eurosceptic movement, for the Brexit movement. If we had a second referendum, she would be on every single leaflet of the Leave campaign.
Well, and you know, once again, to compare it to what's happening here in the United States, by the Democrats having no other candidate, no real centrist candidate that can appeal to Trump voters. Like, you know what, I voted for Trump, but I really didn't want to. You know, he was really just the better choice than Hillary. I'm so glad the Democrats gave me a better option. I'm going to come back this way. They have no one like that. They only have somebody that even the Democrats, they have, or several candidates that even the Democrats don't want. And so it is the best thing. And Trump had said, you know, about several candidates, including Elizabeth Warren, I would love to be the presidential candidate that's running against, you know, these people. And we're going to probably see it again in 2024. That's all they're going to be able to put forward, and they're going to keep losing. And so here with the European Union, they've got this fanatic who wants to do and control, and she's a puppet, but still, who represents their wanting to do and control. And so you're going to see more populist movements and maybe an Ital-exit and a Pole-exit and a Hungary exit. I mean, seriously, it's kind of exciting. Hunger-exit.
That's when you eat your
Hunger-exit.
When you got to go find some dinner. I got to exit this hunger. So this is an interesting, there's like snippet, I call these commercials. So you guys obviously know the Nazis stole a bunch of paintings. It's well-known history. Well, this still life painting, which is actually really beautiful, was stolen by the Nazis, and a Dutch still life painting stolen by retreating Nazis and sent by a German soldier as a present to his wife came back to a Florence museum on Friday, thanks largely to a relentless campaign by the Uffizi Gallery's director, a German. The foreign ministers of Germany and Italy were on hand Friday at the Palazzo Pitti, a Renaissance palace that is part of the Uffizi Galleries, for the unveiling of the Flower Vase, a masterpiece by John Hunsum, I don't even know how to say it, an early 18th century artist whose exquisitely detailed still life works are highly sought in his day. So the Uffizi, I don't know how to say it, director, Schmidt, earlier this year urged his native country to return the work. He had posted on a gallery wall 3 labels where the painting had hung before being taken during World War II. Stolen! The labels read in Italian, English, and German. His homeland, Schmidt said at the time, had a moral duty to return the work. So Italian Foreign Minister Maia, I can't say this with some names, hailed the civic and moral courage of a German director of an Italian museum in pursuing the painting's return, as did his German counterpart. The flower vase is so realistic it has been likened to a photograph.
Yeah, I'll be darned.
Ripples are visible in the insect's transparent wings, to name just the striking detail. It was acquired in 1824 by a Grand Duke, and it passed through there, and I'm just there it is. They found it, and it says starting in 1991, the German family repeatedly tried to sell the painting to Italy via intermediaries, threatening to give it to a third party or even destroy it if a ransom wasn't paid. Interesting, the family that had it.
A ransom.
Yeah.
So what to me, what's more interesting is, did I miss when you were reading that where it was originally stolen from, a person or a gallery, or a museum?
Sounds like it was stolen from a gallery.
Okay, then that makes more sense than you return stolen goods, stolen property.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just thought that was that
is really cool.
Yeah. And speaking of Cologne. There was a terror attack that the police had thwarted, an imminent Islamic attack recently. Police in the German state of the North Rhine-Westphalia say they thwarted a terror attack this week, arresting 6 radical Islamic extremists in their homes. The raids occurred Thursday and saw officers from the city of Cologne and the city of Düren arrest the 6 men, one of who, a 30-year-old Lebanese German, is said to have been part of Berlin's radical extremist Salafist scene. We had up-to-date covert knowledge that an attack could be imminent. According to the police, the 30-year-old suspect had previously attempted to make contact with members of the Islamic State terror group. So there's obviously somebody had said, "Oh, the ISIS is defeated," and the Imam of Peace, Imam Tawhidi, said ISIS will never be defeated. If anything, it'll just change names. So people are still wanting to be radical Islamist and blow things up.
Surprise.
You saw the Islamic State still had power in Syria, which is why we saw in 2017 the highest number of attacks. When we started our Resistance 6 channel, it was like, oh, we got to go live. There's another terrorist attack. There's another terror attack. But as ISIS has been defeated, that this hotbed and this has died down, but it doesn't mean that the ideology is just gone.
Right. But I think also, additionally, it's moments like this where you don't hear about the thwarted attacks. And so 100% I'm glad that the attack is thwarted. But at the same time, the fact that the thwarted attacks are not really talked about as big as they should be, as if they had actually happened.
So I think that honestly, and I really think this is the way to do it, I think that they should recreate what could have happened.
Yeah.
With sirens.
I agree,
and people and say, this is what almost happened here.
If you were here in this moment at this time, you would have lost your life, or been injured.
I can hear the sirens
something.
right now.
Yeah.
So let's see. The 30-year-old suspect had previously attempted to make contact with members of the Islamic State terror group by traveling to land that had formerly been occupied by the organization, probably Syria. And then another suspect, a 21-year-old man, is said to have declared loyalty to the Islamic State in the past and was reported to have a considerable affinity for guns. The raids were primarily focused on 6 apartments in Düren, but also on a construction site in Cologne after officials say they received a tip. The arrests are not the first alleged terror plots foiled by the German authorities this year. In March, 11 individuals were arrested in Berlin, accused of plotting a terror attack using firearms and a vehicle. The suspects, all German citizens between 20 and 42. Now, these are German citizens. These are people who, by all intents and purposes, can't be deported. They're citizens.
Yeah. Had
rented a vehicle and contacted known weapons dealers prior to the arrest. In January, 3 Iraqi migrants were arrested in Dithmarschen in the northern state of whatever, Holstein.
Schleswig-Holstein.
Where they were... see, and here's the thing. You should not put together Schleswig-Holstein and a terror attack. They don't really... An Islamic State. This does not go. Last month, Tanzanian migrant Saif Allah H., along with his wife Yasmin, faced charges of plotting a terror attack with the deadly biological compound ricin after being arrested last year for possession of 84 milligrams of the substance in their apartment in Cologne.
See, I want to let you know something. Like, all right, so if I'm going to commit a terror attack, which I'm not going to do, I'm not going to do it with some, like, biological weapon because I would be terrified, like, of me getting it. Like, am I crazy?
They're crazy, Michelle. They want to blow people
yawning.
up.
We could pause to apologize for the fact that, like, literally, I'm trying to suppress yawns while I sit here. We are very tired. Did you tell him that Nemo is still missing at the beginning of the show? Nemo is still missing, and we have been hiking like crazy. And on my way here, I thought, I'm not even sure that I can do the show because I am so tired. We've been getting no sleep. God is going to bring this dog home. But we are exhausted, so you're going to have to just excuse the yawns. We are happy to be here. Our bodies are would rather be sleeping.
I'm happy to be here. I mean, we've been, looking for this dog, and life must go on.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Nemo, and I hope we find him, and I'm spending my whole life trying to find this dog. But at the same time, my mom made a point the other day. She says this, we love our animals. We love our animals so much. But people are so important.
Right.
And animals are animals and people are people. And that makes us different than... And we're not part of the animal kingdom. Humans are part of the animal kingdom. No, we're not.
Right.
Humans are humans. Animals are animals. And there's a distinction there.
Well, and how many times when we were hiking in the woods, which our neighborhood has amazing woods that we didn't quite understand because we'd never really been back them. And I said to you several times, I'm like, we're not searching for a child. We're not searching for a human. We are searching for a dog, and that makes it different. Mike had said, is Nemo your dog or a client's dog? Nemo is not our dog. Nemo is not a client's dog. Nemo is our cousin's dog, and so he's like family to us. We have watched him for the past 8 years. Every time they go out of town, several times a week, we take him out to wear him out and burn energy and so on and so forth. But he went missing from our house. And got hit by a car and took off running at the speed of light.
Lightning, yeah.
And we have searched all of the surrounding woods and hiked for miles and hours.
A couple possible sightings. We went to those areas. We hiked in those woods.
Right. There was no blood. There was no damage. He is a beast. He's a very beefy. It's very possible that he kind of bounced off of the car and didn't actually get injured. I think that's what happened. I think right now he's just missing. So it's just a matter of him coming to our place, or being found by someone. But we've just where we live is very Ohio-esque. There's very, very steep ravines. It's not like West Virginia, but there are very steep ravines, and then they go back up, and there's creeks.
Well, and honestly,
the hiking is very treacherous.
It's just where we live.
Yeah.
Because it's just...
A lot of people envision Ohio like Kansas, like flat corn farm. It's not.
We live at the top of a hill.
Yeah.
If we lived anywhere else in our surrounding area, it'd be much easier to find him.
Well, you mean outside of
No, our little area. Like, you go down into Milford, you can find the dog. If you go just down 131, you can find the dog. Like, even Route 50, they don't have the ravines that we do. We live on the top of this weird hill. It's Klondike and Pleasant Hill. So I
just was thinking, like, down at 50, there's woods for miles and miles and miles and miles.
But not
the
ravines. You could talk. Not the ravines.
222 and.
But not the ravines. There's not the hills. I mean, if you go that way to Behavior.
Yeah, that's what I'm envisioning. Like, I'm thinking.
I'm saying in our local area.
Yeah. If he
headed
back towards his house, it's flat. Where he's gotten out before, they always find him because it's flat. Like, it's neighborhood. There's no woods.
Loveland, Batavia, it's like all these different areas. There's houses and neighborhoods, and it's mostly flat. But like, we didn't know that like within we can see it. There's woods. Yeah. They're not building houses there, but like, oh my gosh, it's like we have. Yeah. It's just like this little circle of like West Virginia right there.
It is. Everybody's asking, and we love all the tips, and there's no bad tips, but everybody's asking, did you check the local pounds? Does he have a tag? Is he chipped? He has not only, it's not a tag, it's attached to his collar, and his collar is very thick and very tight, and it is not coming off. And he is microchipped, and it's had over 900 shares just locally in our town. Everybody in town knows that we are looking for this dog. When we drive around and somebody's, hey, you're looking for Nemo, somebody I never met. There have been strangers looking for this dog. That's what we have narrowed it down to, the fact that he is in the woods. It's the only possibility, and it has been scorching hot out. And if I was a dog, I would be staying in the woods as well.
Thank God there's water,
and thank goodness there is water. So I'm hopeful and optimistic that at some point he's going to get hungry enough and lonely enough to come out of the woods and find a human and say, help me.
Help me.
Help me, help me, help me.
Speaking of help me, you got a song?
I love that question.
Don't look so down stressed.
You know, there was this, I heard one this morning.
When your load is weary, seems all hope is gone.
Now, see, Mike Skidmore says, do you have the dog whistle? We were introduced to that option yesterday. I have not ordered it yet. I am going to get a dog whistle. We have whistles that we've been taking and that we have been blowing, but not a dog whistle. I don't know how much the dog owners around us would appreciate us blowing the dog whistle constantly. You know, I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry. You guys have been asking about songs. I've had people sending me messages and watch this video and links and so on and so forth. And I don't have time. I don't even have time to eat.
Michelle, you don't need to keep telling people. They
I'm
understand.
just saying I feel bad that I can't
need to
answer.
explain. It's fine. I feel bad when I keep telling everybody we're tired, blah blah blah. I'm not.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It
Which
doesn't
one
matter.
do you want?
I was looking to see if I had. I like that.
Okay.
The words to that song. When
I just want everyone to know that when I don't respond to your messages, it's not because I'm ignoring. It's not because I don't want to, at all. It's just because there are priorities in this life here.
Was that her?
Yes, but she's fine. We're actually doing well, I think. I mean, I'm happy, and our spirits are up, and we're optimistic. It's just physically, there are only so many hours in the day, and there's only so many things that you can do. So what do you need?
They understand. I wanted to, when your load is weird, I was looking for the words. The song I wrote, and I can't find it. I don't know where the words are.
Will it be in the red book? I don't know where the red book is. I can keep looking.
Let's see.
I don't see the red book.
It's on my phone. Actually, here, I know what I can do. Yeah.
And we're not the only ones coping with this heat. I hope all the rest of you guys are okay. It has been really hot across the whole United States. And you need to make sure that you stay hydrated. And if you can stay inside, we're normally like, oh, get out, do something, be outside. If you can stay inside in the air conditioning in this heat, do so, because people can get really, really injured. Dehydrated and just, you're not always, the fact that we're out hiking in pants this heat, we make sure that we have water and so forth.
Yep. I've been doing really good. It's hotter today. It feels yesterday. It feels hotter today.
I don't think that it quite got as hot as they predicted. I was afraid that it was going to get a lot worse.
All right. Wait, what are you doing? I have it right there.
Okay.
I did it so you don't have to scroll.
Okay.
When your soul is weary, seems all hope is gone. When you're given all your strength just to hang on, when the trials and the heartache seem to go on too long, when you're hanging on by a thread and you're so far from home, put your trust in Jesus, for he cares for you. Just look at the lily of the valley and the sparrow too. Just call on him. He will help see this through. He will grab you by the hand and he'll carry you too. For Jesus is a rock. a strong habitation. All the righteous run to him, and they find salvation. So cry, Lord, have mercy on this broken soul. Oh, Lord, give me strength and make me whole. Lord, I have wandered so far from home. I need the good shepherd to bring me back to the fold. And the Father is waiting for every prodigal son. Jesus will leave the 99 just to go find that one. So when your soul is weary, seems all hope is gone, oh, just call on him and he'll carry you home. Oh, he'll carry you home.
Yay! Did that come to mind because of Nemo?
I don't know, but I'm like, somebody called the ambulance. We wandered so far from home. Jesus will leave the 99, and I really think that's absolutely true. We have, as a group, as we've left everything that we can to find this dog, and I think that the spiritual, parallel here is I've been in the woods, and I have felt like, oh my gosh, I've been in places like Nemo's at, like wandering around and you can't find your way out. And Nemo is a dog, and I believe that God will take care of Nemo because he cares about the sparrows.
Yeah.
But how much more, as the scripture says, does he care about you?
Yeah.
And if you're in a place in your life where you feel like I've wandered too far from home, I know what it was like. Being in those woods, we got turned around a time or two.
Yeah,
when we walked in,
right.
We were like, how do we walk back out? And, eventually we could go to the road. We would know.
Right.
But you could be back there in the woods. And what I'm saying is that if you're in the woods in your mind and you're going up a ravine and you're like, well, I'm just going to follow this trail. A lot of us are just kind of like dogs. Oh my gosh, there's a rabbit. And you just go into the woods and you don't even know, I'm lost. And that's what sin does, right? Sin is like that rabbit that leads us into the woods. Before you know it, you're out of the protection of the Father.
Right.
And when you're in the middle of the woods and you followed yourself and sin just took me there. I just went. Squirrel. Right? I just went. You just went. And then you're like, when you wake up out of it and you lost the scent of the sin's not palatable anymore.
Yeah.
And you're stuck in the middle of the woods. You're like, oh no.
Now what have I done?
What have I done? And we've all been there. You're never too lost to cry on the Lord.
Right.
There was a thief. A thief and a murderer on a cross is next to him. And they both had the opportunity to repent and go to heaven. I'm not saying that you might not, if you've done something wrong, there might be a punishment in this world.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing that you've done that you can't save your soul from.
Right. That's true.
Right?
That's very true.
When you realize that Satan is the author of, evil, devil, demonic, tries to lead people down a horrible road, and so God wants to bring you back to the fold. That's what the song is about.
Yeah.
He wants to bring you back to the fold. So cry, Lord, have mercy on this weary soul. Bring me back to the fold. So I guess we'll end on that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. That song sounds like Leah wrote that song, by the way, if you didn't catch that. And the way that the stanzas work is like it's a hymn. Because the way hymns run is that you can sing the same stanza over and over, or not the same stanza, you can sing a different stanza to the same tune over and over and over again and add new meaning to it. It makes
like Amazing Grace.
Yeah, and so we really should, maybe Mom will, she's been uploading to SoundCloud, and she can probably cut that song and upload it to SoundCloud so you guys can sing along and enjoy that with Leah. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Leah, for doing the whole show almost by yourself.
I'm glad you guys were here. It's a good show.
Yeah. I want you to have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Stay cool out there. Do something fun. We love you. God loves you. God bless. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory.
If it's the truth.
And we do have a P.O. Box 107, which I haven't checked in a really long time. Milford, Ohio, 45150. If you send us your letters, we will read them on air. We'll be back here on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, hopefully with good news. And like I keep saying, I do want to do the Bible studies, and as soon as I get a chance to, I will. So, all right, we love you, and we will see you back next time. And don't forget to share and like all of this and get it out there. We've had a lot of new viewers thanks to Patriot Gallery cutting up those videos. So if you get a chance to watch some of those small videos, leave a comment and thank Patriot Gallery, because a lot of people have been asking. I wish you guys had shorter shows. I wish I knew what topics to hit. And she works tirelessly on doing that, guys. It's a lot of work. So
I think we should give her some sort of
award,
a raise.
Yeah, more thank yous. Thank you, Mom. That's
she
her
just
raise.
likes thank yous. Yeah.
All right. God bless, guys.
I was cold.